Today I wanted to talk about how to make the Forbes list. And just because I'd like to genuinely challenge myself to be greater, and I challenge myself to push the envelope and here are the industries with the most 400 members of the Forbes in 2023. Service comes in at number 10 with 12 billionaires, 3% of the list. Collective net worth, $63 billion. Sports is tied for numbers 9 and 8 with manufacturing. Sports has 16 billionaires, 4% of the list. Collective net worth, $104 billion. 8 tied for manufacturing, 16 billionaires, 4% of the list. Collective net worth, $73 billion. I won't say names because we know that they're all white. 7 energy, 20 billionaires, 5% of the list. Collective net worth, $158 billion. Media and entertainment for number 6, 21 billionaires, 5% of the list, $124 billion is the collective net worth. Real estate, 25 billionaires, 6% of the list, collective net worth, $139 billion. Fashion and retail, 31 billionaires, 8% of the list, collective net worth, $473 billion. Number 3, food and beverage, 41 billionaires, 10% of the list, collective net worth, $316 billion. Technology coming in for number 2, 69 billionaires, 17% of the list, collective net worth, $1.41 trillion. Finance and investments coming in at number 1 with 112 billionaires, 28% of the list, collective net worth, $1.04 trillion, and the world's richest billionaire owns $121 billion. And I had previously looked at the list for this year, the Forbes 400 list, and the genuine question was how to make the Forbes list. That was what I had typed in my favorite search engine. And I was genuinely curious to see how you would make the Forbes list, how much of your net worth would be allocated towards these things. Now, I'm going to give you the top 5 companies that are owned, top 10 companies that are owned by the top 10. Starting from number 10, you have Bloomberg LP, Microsoft, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, Oracle, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, and SpaceX. So coming in at number 10 is Michael Bloomberg with $105 billion. He is 82 years of age, resides in the state of New York, and his philanthropic score is a 4. I'll talk about the philanthropic score later. Bill Gates, $107 billion, age 68, Washington State, creator of Microsoft, and a philanthropic score of a 5. Steve Ballmer, also creator of Microsoft, $123 billion, is also 68 and lives in the state of Washington. Philanthropic score is a 2. Sergey Brin, $130 billion, age 51, lives in California. Google is what they're accredited to. Philanthropic score is 2. Larry Page, $136 billion, age 51, resides in the state of California. Also Google with a philanthropic score of a 1, 1 being the lowest. Warren Buffett, coming in for number 5. He's 94 years of age, has $150 billion. Resides in the state of Nebraska, is the creator and founder of Berkshire Hathaway with a philanthropic score of a 5. Larry Ellison, source is Oracle, has a network of 175 billion, is age 80, from California with a philanthropic score of a 1. Mark Zuckerberg, $181 billion, is 40 years old. Now that's what I'm talking about, baby. Yo, 40 years old in the top 3 of Forbes. Jeez, love that. I ain't gonna lie, 40 is fly. California, Facebook, philanthropic score 2. Jeff Bezos coming in for number 2, $197 billion, is 60 years of age. I didn't even realize he was 60. Lives in the state of Florida, is the creator of Amazon with a philanthropic score of 2. Elon Musk, net worth is $244 billion, which is actually down. Think about the cost of X platform. Age 53, resides in the state of Texas. Source is Tesla, SpaceX, and a philanthropic score of a 1. It says Elon Musk co-founded 7 companies, including electric car maker Tesla, rocket producer SpaceX, and artificial intelligence startup XAI. So interesting how they don't even talk about anything else. But I thought something was extremely interesting upon looking at this list, because there weren't very many women on the list. There are 2 pages of women on the list. 2 of them was in the top 20. 3 of them, is in the top 20, and I am familiar with them just because I am familiar with the companies that they are affiliated with. And top 3 is Alice Walton. She's in number 15 out of 400 on the Forbes 2024 list. She is the daughter of founder Sam Walton, and if you have guessed it, she is an heir to the Walmart stores brand. Net worth is $89.2 billion. She is 74 years of age, resides in the state of Texas with a philanthropic score of 2. Julia Koch and family, $74.2 billion, 62, resides in the state of New York for Koch Incorporated with the 2. Koch is a huge company. Koch is how you do it. I've always heard Koch. Some people say Koch. I wish they would tell us. Jacqueline Mars, coming in for number 19 out of 400 at $47.6 billion, the age of 84. Out of the state of Virginia, and she is an heir of the Mars brand. Mars is candy, pet food. Everyone knows like the Mars candy brand. And they are a huge chocolate company, and they are known all around the world for the Mars chocolate bar, just tons and tons of candy in that arena. What was the significance of me mentioning this? Also, Melinda Gates came in at number 34 on the Forbes list, $29 billion, age 60, Washington, Microsoft. She has a 5 philanthropic score. There weren't very many people on the Forbes 400 for the richest people in America that had a high philanthropic score, which annoyed me, because if they gave at least 1% of their earnings and their riches, I promise you, everybody on the list would probably create a space for the less fortunate that will allow them to live in a peaceful environment for a change, regardless of the circumstances that allowed them to spiral into homelessness in the first place. But the fact remains is that there were only a few people on this list with a philanthropic score that was at a 5. Very many people were at a 1, which I thought was really, really interesting. And I love to see that. You know what I mean? But there are some people who are new to the list, and it was number 28 and number 31, Lyndall Stevens Greth and family, and Marilyn Simmons and family. And I want to mention them because they were in the top 30, and one was for oil and gas, and one was for hedge funds. They both have amassed $63 billion between the two of them to be a brand new list, each of them with at least $30 billion. So that goes to show you that there are certain industries that we really need to pay attention to going forward. A lot of that will be natural gas. We're just headed in a space where clean energy is required for us to thrive, but also the importance of financial services. You know, you really have to understand what that does to you, for you. And, you know, it's something that I have always been around. I started my career in 2005 working for Wachovia Bank. I was a bank teller. I made about $9 an hour. And while it was definitely a means to an end, it taught me some critical skills that I still use to this very day. Some of you may know that I do trade Forex full time, and while it is definitely a difficult process, I'll say that because I had some financial background and understanding the significance of having a savings, of investing, of having life insurance, you know, so on and so forth. I could say me having those, paying off debts, making sure you have little to no debt, all those types of things, trial and error, learning from money mistakes and creating new financial habits. All of these things are important. I just want to give an honorable mention to Robert Smith, who also was on the Forbes list once again. He has about $100 billion in assets, coming from the private equity venture capitalist, realm, and his amassed wealth is at $10.8 billion. I've had the honor and the privilege of being able to be in a room and to hear him be interviewed, literally in person, which is amazing. And, he definitely does do some philanthropic work, and you can also see that in how he has helped, Black men around the United States. What is the significance to know Robert Smith is 61 years of age. He started out in private equity. He is self-made. Self-made score is an 8, and he resides in Texas. He does have a formal education where he has a bachelor's of science and arts from Cornell University and a master's of business and administration from Columbia. This gentleman is something that we should really keep in the backs of our minds, especially coming from someone of the Black and Indigenous people of color community, and recognizing that there are positive influences around us that we could really focus on and look up to. Like I said, in 2009, he gave the commencement speech at Morehouse and vowed to wipe out the student debt for the entire graduation class, recognizing that student loans is something that will continue to cripple many Americans, let alone Black Americans, into, missing out on some critical pieces of wealth, such as home ownership, X, Y, and Z. being able to know that there are people who are self-made, who put in the work, who, are positive Black men in our lives, for a woman to also see something like that, it is still powerful, because at the end of the day, we have always learned that the man is the leader of our home. And if we look to positive examples in the Robert Smiths of the community, then it'll quickly continue to wash out those low vibrational hip hop culture figures that we once looked up to. And now we see that some of those people have crumbled or are crumbling before our eyes. So it's important for us to shift our mindset, understand what's happening around the world, recognize that there are people who are running the world that are as young as 40 years old. Seeing that Zuckerberg is 40 years old, I always had an aspiration to retire at 40, from working in corporate America. But recognizing that you definitely have an opportunity to expand in this world, regardless of who you may be. I don't want anyone to get discouraged and feel like they're not capable of achieving success. The only thing that I wish to see is more people make these lists that are people of color. It would be really nice to see a sister with some locks on there, a gentleman with some locks on there, someone who has been consistently working toward leveling up their families, their bloodlines, for many years to come. So this message is for all of those people who are interested in financial services, or just interested in 10xing and pushing their mindset and their thoughts and their situations to a different level. All right? Peace.